It's Monday. Okay, so we are super excited to get back into our revenue share huddle for the week. As we always do here in EXP Family Tree on Mondays, we are always coming to you guys and really working hard to find people that are having success and have grown their revenue share inside this amazing company. And we have one of those people here with us today. Carlos German has been with EXP for a period of time, has had a lot of success in revenue share, and we're going to get to know him a little bit today, and we're going to learn some of the best strategies, tips, successes, failures, whatever Carlos wants to share with us. It's surely going to be a blessing, and we're very, very excited to have you join us. Thanks for taking the time, Carlos. I know you're busy, as everybody always is, but for you to come from contribution and pour into this group and this workplace group, we are very excited. Oh yeah, Loni says she loves your last name. Loni is from Germany, so.
What's up, Loni? Well, I'm a German in heart. I gotta make sure I actually go to German someday, because you know, definitely a close connection there for sure.
Great, yeah, I love your name.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Before we got on the call, I asked Carlos how I pronounced his last name, because I do have a bit of a background in speaking Spanish, so I wasn't sure if it was an Americanized last name or not. So was it German or was it Herman? And he said it's German, probably just because most of us don't know Spanish, although we all should know a second language. That's another topic for another day. I'm sure that's why his name was Americanized. So it makes a connection with you, Loni, which is fun. So
I like to keep it simple. So with my training here, whatever, I'm an open book, by the way. So ask me anything. I'm fully transparent on my journey and how I've gotten to, you know, where I am and whatnot. So all hands on deck. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do this. That is awesome. So what I would like to start out with is just getting to know you a little bit. And so can you start and give us a little bit of a journey of yourself, how you got into real estate in the first place, how you found yourself at this awesome company, EXP Realty. Just a little bit about your background would be a great place to start, Carlos.
Absolutely. So, you know, my mom and my dad, you know, they met in a dance club. No, I'm just kidding. And
that's how you're here.
I'm not going to go that far back for you guys, because that would take too long. All right. So I'm originally from the Dominican Republic, and moved to the United States when I was 15. And I actually moved in with my aunt and my uncle, and they actually legally adopted me and helped me get connected with the United States. You know, I grew up in Dominican Republic, didn't know any English when I arrived in the US. And they actually were the ones that introduced me to real estate, because they loved real estate investing and they were buying some properties. And I met a real estate broker through them. And I was like, wait a second, this guy is making all this money selling houses. Like, I can do that. Seems pretty easy, right? Little did I know how challenging this business can be. But when I was 20 years old, I got my real estate license. I didn't start until I was 21. You know, so I took a little bit of a period there. I was working in IT and doing websites and working for a company that managed networks. And that was kind of the first experience that I had, because I've always been a hard worker. And it was kind of the first time that I felt I needed to be in a different path, because I had a conversation a year prior with my boss about moving up and getting a raise and making more money. And I have risen up in that small company to be one of the team leaders there, managing a team of other network managers. So I asked him for a raise, and he said, yeah, we'll evaluate it, you know, in a few months. And a few months later, I go and check in, and he's like, yeah, we'll evaluate it in another few months. And he was just dragging me out like that. And eventually he was like, man, you know, we can't do it yet. And that was towards the end of the year. So he looked me in the eye and he told me, I know you're working hard. I know you're one of my top people. You know, I really want to compensate you properly, but we're not there yet. And we'll let you know when we're there. I was like, okay, cool. You know, I kept putting in my best and everything until I saw that he made some investments in some software that he didn't need because he was trying to save on taxes. Have you ever been in a situation like that where people don't value you and they actually put a value on something else and you're like, wow, really? So this guy wouldn't give me a raise and he acknowledges that I'm working hard and I'm putting in the work and I'm rising up. But yeah, he is boasting how he's saving on taxes by putting software in the shelf that we don't need. Like literally, we don't need these things for months or years, but he just wants to spend money to save on taxes. And he doesn't want to spend on his people. So at that time, I had a wake-up call and I was like, I need to find a place where I can have a path to get compensated for my contribution, get compensated for the hard work that I put in, no matter, so I don't have a limit, right? So nobody puts a cap on me. And I decided to go and get into real estate, where I saw unlimited opportunity. And I hope all of you guys know that we are in a profession with unlimited potential. We are in a profession where really the sky's the limit, where we can accomplish so much. And what somebody else can do, we can do. And I started out in my real estate journey and work hard. Remember, I'm Dominican, hard worker. I've always given my best to everything I've got. So I put all out to my real estate career. And I find that this is actually really hard when you don't have a proven process, when you don't have a mentor, when you don't know what you're doing, when you're completely green. And that was kind of like my first realization that, oh man, there's gotta be a better way in this. And I don't wanna go too far because you told me to actually tell you a little bit of my background and whatnot. So I don't wanna jump ahead. But that's kind of how my career started and from what mindset I started. I started with the mindset of, I want to be compensated for my contribution. I want to get out of this what I put in. And that's where things led me to the real estate industry.
So how long ago was that? When did you get your real estate license, Carlos?
Yeah, that was in 2005. So awesome. I've been around a little bit.
Yes, you have. So 2005, you've been through a tough market before. You made it through on the other side and you're still here today. So when did you bring your business over to EXP and why did you choose EXP?
Yeah, you make a good point as far as the market. I was one of those foolish people getting into the market when it was literally collapsing and everybody was actually walking away from real estate because I got my license in 05, but remember I told you I didn't immediately start. I started in 06 and was towards the end of 06. So really 07 was when I was kind of getting my footing in and the market collapses. But I was able to grow my business and I built a great career. Now, I do want to highlight something. I only sold 3 houses my first year in real estate. Yeah. And that was full-time as an agent. So I'm not this wonder kid that all of a sudden, whiz kid that got into the industry and sold 30 houses and had it all figured out. Yeah, that's not me. All right, I'm an analytical kind of person, so I tend to overthink. Yeah. And that sometimes slows me down, So really, it took me hitting my head against the wall a few times before figuring it out. And really, by my 3rd year was when I broke through and started selling some houses. But by the time I found EXP, I was already a team leader. I had a team of 6 agents. Okay. I had stepped out of production, so I had a team that ran by itself with me as the leader. I wasn't showing houses and going on listing up. I was still doing the listings because the listings were a great opportunity. I would just go on the appointment and then give it back to my team to process it, right? But there was one problem. And that problem was running a team every few years you have agents that they feel, okay, I've accomplished what I was set out to accomplish here and I want more. And that's fair. Everybody wants to keep growing. So you want to support them in that endeavor. So we were looking at ways to support our leaders that wanted more within our model. And, you know, that was something that I was trying to figure out, going on masterminds and, you know, learning from other people, like how can we provide better opportunities so we don't lose talent, so that they can get what they want. So that year, I had a great year, and we invested money into partnering with some of our top agents to expand to other markets. And we were, you know, we had a call center with 3 ISAs, and we were generating leads and opportunities to do this. And then we also started a radio campaign. So we were trying to grow our business and create more opportunities. And the reason I tell you this is because there's a turning point here where I didn't want new ideas. I was good. I was like, hey, you know, my business is going well. We're expanding. I don't need any new ideas. And to the point where I was part of this mastermind, and I didn't want to go to the meetup that we had in October, because I was like, I don't want to go to the mastermind and get new ideas either. No. So I had never missed a mastermind since I had been part of this group. And this was the first one I was going to miss, because I was like, I'm not going to chase shiny objects over there. So I'm not going. But then last minute, I decided to go because I was working super hard. I was like, hey, you know, these masterminds are a way to hang out with my friends, have some fun. And I'm just going to go for that. So my wife, who works with me in the business, she's like, Carlos, I don't want new ideas. I don't want new shiny objects. Okay. If you're going to go, but don't come to me with new stuff, because we're maxed out. We don't want to do anymore. We got what we need. Let's go. So sure enough, I go to the mastermind and they're talking about EXP. The boss was crazy. They're all talking about this company, and it solves all the problems that we've been having as team leaders. And then I'm talking to my wife, you know, the night before the first day of the mastermind, which was the meet and greet. And she's like, so how's everything going there? What are the guys talking about? I was like, oh, no, we're just hanging out. Nothing going on. Everything good. Okay, remember, no crazy ideas, Carlos. I was like, uh-oh. My heart was pounding because I was like, there's already a crazy idea and it sounds hot, but I'm not going to say anything about it. So, you know, sure enough, I get through that night with no trouble with my wife, go to day one, which is they do a presentation about the death of the real estate team and why you needed to grow in a new way in the EXP model, basically. And they had not told us it was EXP, but they were selling us subliminally the EXP model in the mastermind. I was like, man, this sounds good. It makes a lot of sense. This sounds like a great opportunity. And that was day one. I'm asking more questions. What is this all about? What's the EXP all about? And it sounds good. I talk to my wife again and I tell her, well, there's this EXP thing that they're talking. She hangs up on me. It's like, I can't believe this guy's talking about ideas again. I was still not sold until the next day. They actually went over the model and they went over the revenue share structure, which is why we're in this call, guys. And this is your first lesson of why you're in this call. When I saw the model and I saw the potential and they mapped out what it could be possible, when I saw that, I was like, if that's real, I'm getting it. Like if somebody's actually done that, I'm going to make that happen. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I believed I could. Mm-hmm. I believed I could. All right. So when I saw the potential, I got fired up. And I was like, I don't care what my wife says. I'm in. Like, sign me up. If that's real, I need to validate if it's real. But if that's real, I'm all in. Right. So sure enough, you know, I go back home. My wife doesn't want to hear anything about it. She's completely mad. Doesn't want to even talk to me, doesn't want to see any videos, doesn't want to do anything. But I was still with this fire. I was still like, this is it. This is what we've been looking for. This is going to solve everything, baby. And she saw that passion, which is lesson number 2 for you guys. Are you that passionate? Do you really believe it so much that it permeates who you become? Like it turns you into a different animal, different person. Like she saw in me something that she had not seen in years.
Mhm.
She saw in me an excitement, a passion, a belief on something that she had not seen. And she's like, listen, I don't even know what this is. But if you go with that passion, with that heart, with that ambition, and do something, I don't care what you're selling, is actually, you're going to be successful. So she allowed me to do it. And eventually then she ended up fully coming around and becoming a raving fan of the model herself as well. So that's kind of where I was. I was a team leader struggling to provide more opportunities to my people, but also knowing that my team was vulnerable to those leaders that if they didn't have more opportunity, they were going to leave. And then I had to rebuild again and again and again.
Yeah. So that was your main pain point. Let's talk about that. This is amazing. It's so interesting. I love that you brought up your wife, because it's we don't want the shiny objects. We don't want to change, but it is the passion and the just true like joy and energy that somebody gets from something that they take from. Like if we engage in EXP and we really are utilizing what it has to offer to change our businesses and our lives and help other people, then we should have that energy and passion naturally to go talk to other people about it. And that is going to be what is probably going to get people to their minds more than anything that we could say to them.
Yeah.
So that's really, really critical. If you don't feel like you're at that level of energy and passion, what do you need to do to get yourself fully immersed in EXP and around the right people and learning and making an impact in your business so that that is becoming your energy and becomes contagious? That's the first question I would ask. But I want to know about, this is really good information because a lot of us are talking to other team leaders. A lot of us have come over to this company because we were team leaders in a traditional sense and we were burning out and struggling with things. And we're still trying to find our way inside EXP to take advantage of it here or to tell other people about it. So I would love for you to dive a little bit deeper into what were the main top pain points you had that when you went through that model of revenue share and you saw the model of EXP, you said, this solves my problems. Number one was more opportunity for your team members. So you didn't have to worry about them leaving you. And, you know, if they leave you, they're still in your world at EXP and you still have revenue share. So that's one of the problems that you probably saw that could be solved. Anything else that comes to mind specifically, Carlos?
I mean, for me at that point, that was it. Now, I didn't know the treasure trove that would ensue from being part of the community at large. So you hit something important, and that is my pain point was my pain point. Different people have different pain points, and you need to focus on what they're looking for. And now, mind you, if you saw me and talked to me anywhere, I would have told you I'm having my best year. I'm excited about what I'm up to because I'm doing some really cool things to grow my business. Right. And I'm living it up. I mean, I'm out of production, not selling, you know, in the hamster wheel of buyers every single day. And it's like, I'm having a blast with my business. Yeah, somehow I decide to join EXP, right? So a lot of the time we get these walls from people. It's like, I know I'm fine. I don't really need anything. But the reality is that they don't know what they don't know. And sometimes you have to transfer them to that experience for them to be around like-minded individuals and realize that you're just trying to do something that is likely to improve their lives and their business at a high level. However, we all know that if you're just telling people something, that you really can't feel it. You have to transfer them to an experience. And that's why, for me, what has worked the best has been events and leveraging those events to showcase what we're about and giving people an experience of the power and the value that they're going to get. So one of the big things for me has been, I've always valued being surrounded by like-minded individuals and the high-level collaboration. And I used to pay big bucks to get into those masterminds and be part of communities that gave me that opportunity. With EXP, we don't have to. And a lot of people take that for granted. And as I said earlier, I'm not the smartest. I'm not the fastest. I tend to overthink. So I always want to get validation from the community. Like I'm always looking at what people are doing, what's working. I'm not here to reinvent the wheel, and I'm trying to find models that work. Because I don't feel like I'm the smartest kid in the room. And if I am, I'm trying to find another room. Yeah. In EXP, we have that value. And that has been one of the biggest assets for me and my business. Mm-hmm. That value of all the leaders that trade ideas and collaborate and hang out. Like I see Vincent Koo here, like, I have my X3 bar here, Vincent, by the way. And that was something I used that all the time because Vince introduced me to it. And I travel with it and I stay more fit. I stay more active because Vince forced me to freaking try it. And I didn't want to. I was like, dude, no, come on, this is BS. No, but he forced me to give it a try. And sure enough, I'm more healthy because of it, right? So, and those are the little things that sometimes we don't put a value on that really have a big impact and make a big difference of being part of the community.
That is really important. So besides those events, how else do you get people engaged in the community yourself? How are you finding success in trying to show people what it's like to be involved in the community of EXP? Or do you have other sorts of masterminds or things that you point people to? We have a lot that we point people to here in EXP Family Tree, but I'm just curious about what have been some of your best practices in that regards?
Yeah, so you need to understand that people want to do business with those they know, like, and trust. We know that, right? So it starts with you. It starts with you truly being an example and an inspiration to someone because of your way of conducting your business. Like even people that produce 10 times what I produce, that are now partnered with me, they told me, I spoke with you because of who you are as a person, because of your heart, because of your ethics, because of the person that you are. That's what opened the door, right? So it starts with us, like, who are we? And are we the leader that deserves that kind of success? Are we the person that would attract that kind of person that we're trying to attract? Because if not, that's step number one. We got to become that. And I had to become that. The first thing I did when I joined EXP was get 10 books on how to position myself properly in this new adventure that I was part of. And I got 10 books because I knew 9 of them were going to suck. And I was trying to find the one that was good. And then I found the one that I connected with, and it varies, right? And then I went deep with that person and I bought some of their programs and I did some of their coaching, and I'm still working with that person today. Right? So I'm a student and I know that I need to become a person that is at a higher level to get to the success that I want to get to. So that's number one. Secondly is not overthinking the fact that there's different levels of experiences. I once met an agent that was in EXP and she was like, well, I don't have a team. I don't have events. I don't have things to plug my people into. So what should I do? I was like, okay, let me ask you a question. If you met a new agent and they wanted to know how to start in the industry, do you feel you could add value to that agent? Yeah, sure. Now, let me ask you a question. If you help that agent by adding value to them and helping them get better, do you feel like your own skills would stay sharper because you're having that level of contribution and impact? So yeah, I guess, I'm, always having to be sharp so that I can help the other person. I was like, okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to meet with one agent in a Starbucks once a week or twice a month and start a community with that one agent. And you guys are going to mastermind and create an experience for that one person. And you're going to stay sharper because of that. But then you're going to invite another person. And then you're going to invite another person. And then you're going to create a community around that where each of you are helping each other grow. And that's the first experience. And by the way, I did that. But the moment I started, like I have the photos. I wish I had a PowerPoint here. My first little experience, there were 3 people there. And I knew there would be almost nobody. That like I had small supplies, like I had some cheese and crackers from the supermarket and 1 bottle of wine. It was a wine. How did I call it? I think a wine down Wednesday or something like that. But it was a wine and learn. So you come hang out 5 o'clock. We're gonna learn, and we mastermind it. We share ideas. And that turned into an event that consistently was bringing in 40 people every time I held it. And out of those 40 people, 2 or 3 wanted to be part of the community because they liked what they saw. And that's how it begins. Like sometimes people see us. Yes, I have 2,400 agents right now. I've been, on EXP stages. I'm one of the alphas. They see all of that. But what they don't see is when I had a meeting with 3 agents and I was just getting started. What they don't see is when I sat down in front of another person and that person told me, no, I'm not interested. And by the way, I'm the kind of guy, I get mad because I don't know what people see, but they're like, oh, you're going to do well. This is going to work for you, but it's not for me. I was like, Jesus, if you don't like it, tell me, oh, you're crazy. This is never going to work for anybody, right? But it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna work for you. Go ahead. Like, I'm not gonna bet against you, but I'm betting against me. I was like, really? Right? So I had all those conversations. I had all the no's. All right. I was watching Undercover Billionaire over the weekend with Grant Cardone, right? And there was a point where Grant Cardone wanted to quit. And he was like literally beat down. I haven't finished. And this is an old show. I don't watch TV. So literally I'm catching up on this stuff. This is from like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But I'm watching this show and sure enough, I don't even know what's going to happen, but he's got like 20 days left and he's barely got a business. But from almost quitting, he's like, nah, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to get up and keep trying. Well, the challenge is a lot of the times we quit on ourselves. And a lot of the time we don't put in the work. We start the event and then we quit because it's been 6 months and we're only getting 4 or 5 people and nobody's joining. Well, why aren't they joining? Right? Just focus on one thing first. You focus on first creating your experience. And if you're consistently able to create your experience, then okay, I need to get good at inviting so people show up. So master that one skill. How do I get people to show up and invite? Master that. Then now, hey, I get people to show up, but nobody's joining. Congratulations, you have one problem left. And that is now you just gotta learn how to inspire somebody to take action. But the challenge is we think, oh, this is not working because I've been doing this for 8 months. And yeah, I'm getting some people to show up, but they're not joining. Well, you were this close from actually now completing the picture. And then guess what? Now you know how to host an event. Yep. You know how to get people to show up and you know how to get one person to join every 2-3 months. Well, what do you need? Well, now you just need to go back and say, how do I get more people to show up? And I scale it. And that's it. So you got the whole formula. And by the way, this is now my playbook. I screwed up when I started EXP. So Cari, you were asking about some of the mistakes I made. I'll tell you, the first mistake I made was trying to reinvent the wheel. As much as I thought that I wasn't, I was. And that was the PowerPoint back then was horrible. It sucked. I don't even know how these people were recruiting with this PowerPoint. And I was, hey, I can't recruit with this PowerPoint. So before I ever show this thing to somebody, I got to fix it. I got to fix it. Before I do my lunch and learn, I got to have a good PowerPoint. Before I do anything, I got to have a good PowerPoint. And I told myself I needed a better PowerPoint. So I'm fixing this PowerPoint and, I'm putting some nice designs on it. I'm putting some testimonials, social proof, Jim Frederick from Remax said this, from Keller Williams, right? I'm pimping this thing out, but sure enough, I'm wasting time and energy. But remember, I'm always seeking for proven models. So the person that was crushing it at that time was Brent Gove. And Brent Gove was following a proven model, apparently, because I was like, hey, this guy is succeeding. So I got to find out. Now, I'm in Orlando, in Kissimmee, Florida. Brent is in California. But I'm like, man, I'm going to have to fly to California and see what this guy's doing. I need to figure out what this guy's doing. But lo and behold, Brent appeared from the air and showed up in Orlando to do an event. Miracle, right? Well, not so simple, because he was doing an event on a Saturday, and that weekend I was to be in Anna Maria Island with my dad for his 65th birthday, and we rented an Airbnb by the beach, and he made a huge deal about this family gathering, and we all had to be there, and there was no missing it. Okay, so here we are, family gathering, and my proven model in my town, and I can't go to it. I'm like, ah. So by this time, my wife was already in the bandwagon, and she was all in EXP. So I'm telling her about all this, and she's like, baby, you gotta go. I mean, this guy is who you need to see perform so that you can actually do this right. And I'm like, no, baby, my dad, this is important to him, 65 years old. I gotta make sure I'm there with the family. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna go. We're going to sneak out on Saturday, drive 3 hours back to Orlando, go to the event, and then you'll come back. They won't even notice. It's like, really? Are you really kidding me? And she's like, listen, I'll hold down the fort. Don't worry. I'll make them feel good. Just go do your thing. You tell them that you're going to go back to Orlando real quick. They were pissed. My mom and I were pissed because they're like, really, you're actually driving 3 hours, putting yourself in danger on the road and all this, that you may never make it back. And this was a big deal. But I did. I went to that event to see Brent Gove perform his lunch and learn, basically. And I learned so much seeing him do his lunch and learn. I learned that, they didn't spend a lot of money doing it. They kept it simple. They focus on adding value. They focus on inspiring people to take action. And I was able to see that and implement it in my own business. But another thing happened. Another big deal happened at that event that I went to. And that is Brent made an offer. And he said, hey guys, there's this event in Scottsdale. It's a small leadership retreat. We're just hanging out, having some fun. It's happening about a week's time or 10 days or so. And it's sold out, but because you guys are here, if you want to go, I'll find you a ticket. The tickets are $197 or whatever. I'll get you a ticket so you can go and be part of that. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going, like, too soon, right? So I'm giving you a couple examples so you see the roadblocks. And so you see what is in between you and actually unlocking this and figuring this out for yourself. Because a lot of people are trying, then they hit a roadblock, and then instead of breaking through, they go in another direction without knowing that the last missing piece was on the other side of that wall. And sometimes it's just a small little piece. Like that might be what you're missing, Luisa and Becky, and Barbara. Like that might be just a small little piece that instead of you accepting that barrier, you find a way to say yes and make it work. So long story short, I ended up going to that leadership event. I didn't want to spend all the money, so I ended up with 2 roommates in one little room. Because I was like, this is another thing. I don't want to keep spending money. But something big happened during that event. A big deal that changed everything. Okay? So remember how I told you about this PowerPoint ordeal that I was going through, right? So I arrived at the leadership event, and I'm meeting these guys. And back then, some of these guys had like 200 agents, 500 agents, 1,000 agents. That was inspiring. I was like, oh my God, 1,000 agents. So I go around and I'm asking Cari, I'm like, hey, so how did you do it? What did you do? And they're like, oh, well, I go and I show them the video and it goes over, the PowerPoint. It's like, yeah, but that video sucks. And that PowerPoint, I mean, are you guys really using that thing? Like, yeah, that's what we're using. Like, what? I mean, it works. I was like, okay, then I go, it can't be that. Let me go to the 500 agent person. I'm sure he's got some shiny tools that I can use. I was like, oh, well, yeah, I just send the video and then, I go over the slides when they have questions. What slides? Those slides? You can't be using that. I'm like, yeah, well, this is what I'm using. I was like, really? Then I go to the 1,000 agent leader. Like this guy is like at the top of the totem pole. And I check in. I was like, hey, tell me how you did it. So, well, yeah, I send the video and then I answer questions and you go over the slides. Yeah, I go over the slides, answer the questions. But you can't be using those slides. Like, yeah, everybody's using those slides, but they suck. So, well, I got 1,000 agents. I got pissed. Like some of you guys need to get pissed. Some of you guys need to get mad and realize that we are doing the basic things. And sometimes you're overcomplicating it. I'm sorry, but sometimes you are. And I was. So I go back to my market. I literally had spent hours on this PowerPoint and it was almost ready. I throw it all away. Well, you know what? I'm going to use the crappiest slides. I'm going to send the freaking video and play it for them so they can watch it and watch it with them and answer the questions with the slides. And then when they have a question that I don't know the answer to, or that I can align somebody else to answer, I'm going to take that opportunity to do a 3-way call with another leader, which I was not doing, by the way. At that time, I was not leveraging my upline. And I learned to actually not answer all the questions, to leave some of the questions out. Because remember, I'm analytical. So I knew this model like upside down. Like I knew the contracts, I knew the PowerPoints, I knew like everything. So like I knew how to answer every question. But turns out that you don't want to answer every question. Because if they see you so sharp, so smart, so skilled, they're going to think they need to be you. And they're never going to be able to do it for themselves. So at least that's my story, right? And different people have done it in different ways to add value. But for me, I started showing the revenue share, showing the slides and showing the value and getting my first leaders in that way. And then helping people see the big picture of how EXP could help them grow their business and create freedom and build an asset. And that's where, it all started compounding. And I'll kid you not, like after that event and being able to do this, I recruited my first team leader. And then I recruited my first out-of-town agent. That was a huge win for me. I was like, oh my God, I got somebody out of town. How is that even possible? Like I'm expanded in South Florida now, crazy, right? And the sky's the limit from there. I mean, the rest of the story, you guys already know. Now I'm an alpha, got thousands of agents and just getting warmed up.
And so how many total years at EXP, Carlos?
Right now, about five-ish. Yeah.
About 5 years. So you still have a team, and then of course you're growing your revenue share and growing other team leaders in more of a self-organized manner. Is that true, or is it all basically now just more of a self-organized?
No, I have my team. I still have my team. It's a standard team, a half-cap team. And I mean, we offer a ton of value within our team. That's a huge business. I mean, it's a very powerful business. So definitely, I encourage everybody to not completely cripple what they're already doing. You can do it all. Like literally, I've been an icon 5 times. 5 years I've been with EXP, I've been an icon 5 times. I have my team, but I also grew the revenue share. Like literally, they both hand in hand. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, and so people can, when they're ready to leave the team because they're ready to grow their own or do something, it makes a really great opportunity for you to still be in business with them and to not feel like you're training up your competition. No, you're continuing to raise up leaders, and we are honored for that within EXP through the revenue share model. So you've been doing both side by side. continuing to grow that. You're now at about 2,400 agents, I would imagine, across the world. Yes?
Yeah. Yep.
It has obviously, I would think, changed your life, and now you're helping other people take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Here are a couple of my key takeaways, and then I want to open it up if anybody has any questions. One of my biggest takeaways from this, Carlos, is that we get ready to get ready to get ready. We think everything has to be perfect. We overanalyze the model. Well, people are doing it. That doesn't work for me. I would not use that PowerPoint. I would not do it that way. And we don't really feel like we're reinventing the wheel, but at the end of the day, our mind is giving us all of these excuses and reasons. And then we do reinvent it, and we're wasting a lot of our time, right? And so your big ahas were, okay, this is working for other people. Why do I feel like I have to reinvent the wheel? And it got you into action, because otherwise you'd have been sitting back there for another year trying to get your PowerPoint and everything else correct, and you wouldn't have the trajectory of success that you had. And I talk to people every day, and this is probably one of their biggest challenges. So I think this was a huge aha, and I really thank you for that. Anybody have any other thoughts, comments, questions? Please unmute yourself.
That was a big aha for me too. Why? I used to use it and recruit people so much and so fast, and I stopped using the damn thing. Totally getting back into the old school. What you can flip through it faster, and they can have a copy of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny because we just think we can do it better all the time, or we just are perfectionists. We're too worried about it not looking right, or people thinking it looks whatever. You know, we're really worried about those outside influences. Our mind makes us feel that way, when in reality, nobody else is overthinking that. We just need to get into actions. And in order to get into action, we've got to have systems in place. And so they don't have to be perfect systems. They just have to be systems that we actually go and use on a regular, consistent basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else? Who else had an aha or a question for Carlos as well? This is amazing. Okay, this is my other aha. I don't know why I haven't been able to articulate this. I was just talking to Becky about this, about those in our revenue share group that are not necessarily team leaders or coaches or influencers. They're agents crushing business and life as agents in their market. And I keep encouraging them to try to get together with some people and mastermind and build relationships, because this is where it all starts. But the way you said it was just so perfect. Go find one person and go meet them at a coffee shop and start pouring into them, and let that benefit you. And then invite one more, and then invite one more. It is like, we get so worried that we have to have 25 people start with us. No, that's not how it started for you. And it's not how it started for anyone. My first mastermind I did, we had 3 people. But I didn't think anything was wrong with that. I poured into those 3 people. They got a ton of value. I got energy, and it was cool. Then let's do it again. And let's ask those 3 people to invite a friend if they got value. So we judge ourselves based on, well, how's it going to look if I only have one person? That's how we all have to get started. But you're holding yourself back because you're afraid to do it with just one person, right? I thought that was awesome. Awesome. What else, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, don't compare somebody else's current story with your beginning story, because you don't know their beginning story yet. You're just seeing what's out there, and you just can't. And a lot of time we get into that game of comparing ourselves to what other people are doing, but we don't acknowledge the fact that at some point they were us.
Yes.
And at some point, I struggle with sales. I didn't know how to sell freaking 5 houses a year, right? So really, we have our own journey, and we need to acknowledge that. And also, it might take different amount of times to accomplish the goal for different people.
Yes.
And if you're resolute on your vision, on what you want, and you believe that is true and real for you, for your family, for your future, and you stick with it long enough, learning from proven models, from those that already accomplished what you're trying to accomplish, and focusing on that, it will work. The challenge is, when you hit that wall, are you going to turn around, or are you going to try and break through? Because you're just one breakthrough away from your next level. And every level will require new breakthrough. And every level will require new you. I remember when I got to 500 agents, like I didn't know what to do because I was not the leader that could add value to 500 people. I was like, how do I do this? Like, how can I add value? How can I lead people that are even bigger leaders than me? Like, how can I do this? But I just needed to become a different person and a different leader and find the content and the coaches and the mentorship to become the person that deserved to go from 500 to 1,000. Because that's a whole different set of challenges and a completely different person, a completely different leader. So yeah, I mean, you just got to start where you're at. You are here, start there.
I love it.
And then keep growing into a better version of you.
I would love to ask Carlos, first of all, you're adorable. So,
thank you.
I just love all of it. And I missed most of it because I was working on something, but I'll go back and rewatch. But how would you suggest 160 to 500? Just back to basics or? Well,
you want to find the people like me that have the passion, the energy within your organization, but are stuck trying to reinvent the wheel or overthinking it or second guessing it and don't know what to do next. You know, you want to find those runners that will run with you and help them break through their challenges, because through them is that you're going to either connect with others that are in their network or help them break through to their 160. I had dinner with some of my partners, some of my agents here in my downline, and one of them has a little bit over 100 agents, and I was like, well, how did you get to 100? Well, I did this and that. I was like, okay, because you were just an agent, like you got to 100. Now, let me ask you a question. Who do you have in your organization that wants it? Oh, well, I have so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so and so. Okay, so you got like 4 or 5 people that want it. Okay, well, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take those 5 people and you're going to mentor them to try and do what you did. Now, here's the sad part. Here's what's going to happen. Not all 5 of them are going to do it. No. But your chances of one of them actually doing it are humongous.
Yeah.
So if you pour onto a few of your people in that 160 group, and they could be in your freaking 7th level, it doesn't matter because you're building a fire in the basement. And then everybody else needs to level up because there's treasure down there, right? You want to find those that are willing, that are swimming towards you, that want it, and teach them how you did it. And then one of those will rise to the challenge and will stay consistent. All 5 could do it. It's not about the duplication. Sometimes it's about life gets in the way, priorities change. Again, they get into overthinking and stop completely doing it. But the person that sticks with it, commits, will get there. So you can't do it alone. This is a process where you got to lift other people up. And, I grew to 500 agents and I had like 30 frontline at that time. So it wasn't because I went out and recruited 300 myself. So that's what I would say you would focus on, finding those people that can duplicate what you've done.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, raising people up, giving them the tools and the confidence and the inspiration to go out and make their own relationships, sharing what Carlos just shared with us and going telling your top 10 or 5 or 2 people or 50 people, it doesn't matter, in your organization, and really empowering them and succeeding through them. And then utilizing your upline, because your people aren't going to succeed alone. They need to work with you and use you, and you need to also be willing to do that, because that's what this whole model is about. Carlos being willing to share an hour of his time with us here in EXP Family Tree is just an example of how people are willing to come from contribution because they really love this company. And that is just a beautiful thing. So Carlos, our hour is up. You have been absolutely amazing. You guys, this is live streamed in EXP Family Tree. Go back and watch it. go to my YouTube channel, grab the recording. It'll be up there by this evening. Carlos, I will get you a copy of it. We really, really appreciate you. You are super inspirational. You gave us a lot of things to think about. And now you guys today, we need to go execute on something we heard. So that is my call to action for you guys, is that we go do something with what Carlos blessed us with. So hopefully we can all get a result and move forward in our goals as well. So thank you guys so much
Thank you for the invitation and for what you guys are doing here in Family Tree and in this community. I mean, this is what it's all about. Giving back, contributing, making each other better, and building our goals. So great job, Cari. Great job, Family Tree, and keep crushing it.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Cari.